Yeah. All right. Maybe I'm a little more energetic than usual. Gonna be demonstrating some updates that I have here on ECUViz. Some miscellaneous stuff, but I think there's some pretty groundbreaking stuff that was done here on the current update of ECUViz. So I'm gonna go through it. For starters, if anyone noted in the last video, I was working on adding a chassis such as the RX-8. The reason why this is actually really special is the RX-8 in particular has CAN bus integration, meaning that things like the tachometer, the water temp signal, and other things like that are controlled via CAN bus. So there's no such thing as like an auxiliary or like a almost like a PWM output coming from the ECU controlling the cluster, unlike things on like a 80s or 90s cars such as like a S14, S13, an RX-7, etc. So this is a pretty big deal. CAN bus is great because it gives us a ton more IO, which is awesome. We pretty much save a little bit of IO there, which is rad. And you know, it's pretty simple in ECUViz. If you want CAN bus control, all you have to do is obviously check it off. Now, if you see right now, we have a 13B with a link Atom. As you guys may know, the link Atom is a fairly limited IO ECU. So we're going to play around here and let's do a link Storm ECU for what I'm going to demonstrate here. And we're just going to go over, configure this as a basic 13B REW. So like a S6 TPS, some EV14 injectors. Let's put some IGN1As in here and some GM sensors. And then since it's an S6, we'll just use the Series 6, 7, and 8 trigger. Over here, we have the ability to add flex fuel. Why not? Let's add some flex fuel here. We don't need additional CAN devices because, modern car, all the gauges that we need are there for the time being. So let's not worry about that. We'll run a Series 6 idle control valve. And then we'll also, let us see, add a cooling fan output, boost control, and maybe another cooling fan output. So 2-speed cooling fan output. Then we can add 2 pressure sensors so we can have some safeties here, which would be pretty rad. I don't think we really need anything else here. Yeah, so 2 pressure sensors is good enough. So we have plenty amount of IO. So we're going to hit the update preview button. And you're going to see that the preview that's generated here, I did make some changes here so it's a little more legible to look at the output. You're going to notice that the output itself, if we go here and preview, we have this guy right here, fuse box type 1. So this is a very, very good practice. You don't want to be particularly like merging and sharing different switch 12 volt outputs you found on the chassis. So this is really cool because it's versatile in the sense where if you have an ECU that supports ECR, like a Haltech Nexus series, it'll be able to generate a diagram for your fuse relay box that you can make for your harness. So whenever I make a fuse relay box, for example, we have 2 relays, 2 fuses, and essentially they get controlled exactly like this. I don't want to get too technical here, but let's say we have a fuse relay box pinned with a Deutsch DT6 connector. That essentially is going to give 12 volts to everything that needs 12 volts throughout the harness. Primarily, we have a main relay and an ignition output. Another thing too that you'll notice here within that diagram is that we have, our fuse box connections all labeled. And as you can see, there was hexadecimal color values initially. And I did add the ability to set some attributes here to display the actual concrete color here. So pink, red, black, which is super, super easy. So you can actually trace and see what's going on here. As you can see, we have our ignition coils here for 13B. And it's all color coordinated and very easy to follow, which is super, super, super rad. And then, as I said, we did talk about CAN bus integration. So if we go over here, the B101 connector on an RX-8 simply has a CAN high and CAN low signal. And that CAN high and CAN low, if you look here in CAN bus control, CAN high, CAN low. On the chassis side, CAN high, CAN low. On the Link Storm ECU. And the way we can find that is we could just trace ourselves all the way back here. like so, as you can see. Obviously, it works this way. And then we have our CAN output controlling some of the chassis functions, such as our tachometer, water temp, and even on an RX-8, this allows you to have working electronic power steering, as that is dependent on the CAN bus. This pretty much takes care of all the planning you can possibly think of. You don't need to write it on paper, make a mistake, do a bunch of stuff. The whole point of this piece of software is to simply make your life easy as far as planning. You can put this on an iPad, annotate it as so, print it out if you want to. And yeah, like super easy to follow once you get through it and really start looking at the diagram. I'm going to be adding a couple more features. I'll get into that later in another video, but I just wanted to post a progress update as far as ECUViz, some of the features I've been adding here. It's been pretty slow just because I've been really busy between work and things like school. But hopefully you guys are stoked. I hope to have this out to the public very soon. I've just been very busy, and I really want to get this as dialed. So just currently focusing on things like error handling and cleaning up some of the code here. But aside from that, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys found this pretty interesting and intriguing. And yeah, have a wonderful one, guys.